Hey folks, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the week 2 lecture on atheism, anti-theism, secularism. Um, just a few orders of business. Um, in order to upload the videos, I need to partition them into 10-minute segments. So this will probably be about 2 to 3 segments, just to kind of prep you for that. Also, for those who may still be experiencing feedback in their headphones, I promise you I'm going to get a new microphone for the computer this weekend. Okay, to the lecture. For our first full week of class, we are looking at atheism, anti-theism, and secularism within popular culture. Now, in a minute, I'm going to go over why I felt that this was the best topic to open up with. But before we do that, we need to kind of go over some definitions. Of course, these are fluid definitions. There will always be debate about certain definitions. And in a sense, the reason we're defining these is just in order to know what we're looking at. So if theism is the belief in God, then atheism is without God. It's the idea that God does not exist. Anti-theism is a little bit different. It's being against the idea of God, which means that if someone is an anti-theist, they think that the belief in God is somewhat of an immoral belief. They're against it completely. As opposed to someone who just doesn't believe in God but is okay with other people believing in God. Secularism is the idea that, first of all, that religion and politics should be separate, and secondly, even further down the line, that religion should be privatized, kept out of the public sphere. Now, these are mutually exclusive, meaning someone can be an atheist without being the other two, and so on and so forth. In fact, there are religions that allow atheists in. I'm thinking particularly right now liberal Quakers, not all Quakers, but liberal Quakers, and Unitarians in particular come to mind. But we're going to explore these together in two works, Bill Maher and Larry Charles' movie Religulous, and then Christopher Hitchens' book, God is Not Great, How Religion Poisons Everything. Okay, so what does this topic give us the opportunity to do? It sets the tone for the class, because both of these works make a direct argument. A direct argument that has become part of the popular consciousness, a part of popular culture. But here's the tone of the class. We are not actually going to engage the merits of the argument. That means there will be no discussion regarding whether we agree or disagree with the argument, or discussion regarding potential disputable facts in both works, which a lot of scholars have taken on. The quality of translations of texts that are not in English, we're not going to be discussing that, although that's a very important topic also, etc. So what are we going to be looking at? We're going to be looking at four things. We're going to be looking at the way religion is represented in these works. Two, we're going to be looking at the issues put forward as important to Bill Maher and to Christopher Hitchens. Three, the cultural influences and biases within these arguments. What is it culturally and historically that have come into being so that this becomes part of the popular consciousness? And four, the emergence of these viewpoints within popular culture, of course. Let me get a drink of water. Okay, let's talk briefly about Religulous. We are going to spend much more time on God is Not Great, but we're going to talk briefly about Religulous. Religulous was made by Bill Maher, who's a famous comedian, has a show on HBO, Real Time with Bill Maher, sells out theaters, that kind of thing, who's very anti-religion. He's very outspoken about it, as you will see. And also directed by Larry Charles, who was a writer for Seinfeld and the director of Bruno and Borat. This is a comedy. So hopefully, in the meantime, you'll get some laughs out of it. What we're going to look at in terms of a critical analysis, that means an analysis of this as a product of Bill Maher and as a text. To Maher, what is religion? And I'm not talking about his critique of religion or his description of religion as irrational, which he does say that, a mental disorder. He does say that also. And then he portrays it as a feel-good fantasy. I don't think he uses that as words, but that's kind of the essence of what he's going for. And he does also portray it as dangerous. He thinks that it is dangerous, and he's trying to push for you to not be religious. But we're going to look beyond those, and we're going to look at what Bill Maher thinks religion is in terms of a definition of religion. So to Maher, what makes a social pattern a religion? What makes a personal belief religious? What makes personal, individual, and group practices religious? Texts religious, that kind of thing. To do this, we're going to look at who Maher chooses to focus on in the interviews. This is very important. So who does he interview at length and who does he cut off right away? We're going to look at how the film is edited in order to make this argument, what clips they chose to use and how they chose to put them together. And we're going to look at the images that they chose to use also. I want you to pay real close attention to the camera shots and what they're choosing to focus on in those, etc. Basically, we're looking at the structure of the argument and the structure of the film to support that. I'm going to ask you this question in the discussion board more extensively, but I want you to think about these questions as you watch the movie. How is this view of what religion is, that is, how it is defined, important to his argument? That is, how does his view of religion and what he defines religion as play into what he describes religion as, which is as irrational, violent, etc. What does the popularity of this film and of Maher himself say about what his audience thinks religion is? How about what U.S. culture thinks religion is and popular culture worldwide? And that's really what we're going to be thinking about with Religulous. At this point, I'm going to stop the video at about 8 minutes so that we can get into Hitchens' book in the next video.